back with another video today. For today's video, we will be taking a look at the Air Jordan 11 in the Legend Blue colorway. So without further ado, let's take a look at the shoes. Alright, so before we take a look at the shoes, I do want to take a look at the box. You are getting this black top with the Air Jordan and the red Jumpman and the gray bottom. This is a play on the OG box from 96. The size tag label does read Air Jordan 11, white, legend blue, and black. And I did get these in a US size 10.5. And then inside the box, you should receive a carbon fiber like paper. But without further ado, let's take a look at the shoes. Alright, so obviously my title of this video is Can You Still Hoop in the Air Jordan 11? This shoe is almost 30 years old now. In my opinion, yes, we will get to that more later in the video. But I do want to take a look at this retro in general. Obviously, it did release yesterday, Saturday, December 14th for a retail price point of $230 USD, $295 here in Canada. Insanely steep. And I did want to talk about what you're kind of getting within this shoe as far as the materials and the overall shape and setup. Is this the closest one to the OG that we've ever had? We'll get into all of that. But without further ado, as far as the outsole goes right here, you do have this kind of blue tinted translucent outsole with the heel and forefoot black herringbone pods. I've played in a ton of 11s throughout the last 25 years. They have a great traction setup. It's awesome on indoors and outdoor courts, so really no issues, but that's what you're getting here on the outsole, that blue inspired OG outsole right here on the 2024 release. Now, as far as the cushioning setup that you're getting here, this does come with a Phylon midsole, which is also known as EVA foam, so it is pretty soft on this retro. I know on a ton of ones recently, it has been a lot more firm, but this one is a bit more soft on the Legend Blue pair right here. Housed within that midsole, you do have a full-length air sole unit from heel to toe. And honestly, on court, for performance purposes, it's very comfortable. You can definitely feel it underfoot. You could feel it back in the day, you can feel it today. So for people that say you can't hoop in 11s, obviously you've never hooped in a pair or you're not really hooping like that anymore. You can definitely hoop in 11 still, and they're super comfortable underfoot. Not to mention this retro does come with that white polyurethane insole, so you do get some nice step-in comfort directly under your foot. Now, moving your way up from that, you do have this patent leather material right here. This material was kind of put in place, obviously, to have kind of that on and off court appeal, but it also had a purpose as far as performance goes. I've talked to Tinker Hatfield in person about this, and the purpose of this was to add an extra layer on that leather upper, so when MJ was making those hard lateral cuts on court, this would help protect his foot and prevent it from spilling over the side of the footbed. It was an extra added layer of support on the Air Jordan 11, so I think that's pretty cool that it does have a purpose. It's not only there for looks, although it does look amazing. Moving your way up from that, you do have a synthetic leather upper right here. Typically, you only have the leather on the back panel, and then you have the ballistic nylon mesh running throughout. On the Legend Blue, or otherwise known as the Columbia 11s, they've always had the leather paneling on the side right here, but they do have that ballistic nylon mesh running up the tongue. More of the same on the medial side, so this is a very firm and kind of cheap synthetic leather on this retro, but as far as the overall aesthetics look, this looks very similar to what you were getting back in 1996. And then you do have that Legend Blue or Columbia Jumpman right here with that 2-3 at the back, nothing on the medial side. So overall, it's very, very reminiscent of the 96. I'm just really upset that the materials are so cheap, and this patent leather has a gritty feel to it. It's really weird. It almost feels like sandpaper. So I've never really felt that on a patent leather before on an Air Jordan 11, but that's how it feels right now. Now, the overall build quality of my pair is really nice. The quality control is pretty nice. My only gripe with this retro is more or less the material usage and the really thin patent leather cut on this retro. Last year on the Gratitude 11s, it was horrible. You even looked at that shoe and it would crinkle in all the wrong places. Like I've said, I've played in 11s for the last 20 plus years. I've never seen a shoe crease so easily and so poorly as last year's Gratitude 11s. I know when you play in shoes, that's going to happen naturally, but my off-court pair that I did wear casually, the first time I wore them off-court for about an hour, they creased horribly. It was such a thin and soft patent leather. That's not the purpose of the material. It's supposed to be thicker to help you kind of protect your foot on those hard cuts. But obviously with Jordan Brand and Nike trying to capitalize on price points with the cheapest materials, that's what we're getting here in 2024. Now, obviously you can see a 2001 retro right here. I'm thinking about restoring this pair. I have all the other components in my closet, but the materials on this upper right here are very thick, and it's a genuine leather on this 2001 pair. And I know a lot of people have been saying that the patent leather isn't overly thin. As you can see right here near the Jumpman, the patent leather is paper thin. On this one right here and kind of running down near the toe box, it's a lot thicker, and you can see the raw edges right here. So it is a lot thicker. I wore this pair like 30 plus times, and look at that toe box. I wore these through rain and you name it. It's barely creased. This is a 2001 retro. They just don't make them like they used to. I'm very happy to have these again and wearable, as the 2014, in my opinion, was just a really poor retro. But honestly, we're getting more or less the same materials as that 2014 pair, but here in 2024 with the proper facing Jumpman retro here. So again, the 2001 retro is far superior. Obviously that patent leather is piss yellow. This is going to happen to this pair eventually, but if you're telling me that the patent leather is not getting worse with the Gratitudes and this pair right here, you're out of your mind. You can't convince me. I've been around these shoes for 25 plus years. I've played in them. I've worn them casually. Again, Jordan Brand is just cheaping out with the materials, and this is a perfect example right here. I've worn these a ton. I always clean the bottoms, but as you can see right here, they're barely creasing 20 or 30 wears into this shoe. And that's very similar to the 2018 Concord 11s that I do have right here. Obviously, you see right here, I do have Tinker Hatfield's signature. I've spent some time with him a couple times in Portland. Most recently this summer with Wilson Smith, Tinker Hatfield, Aaron Cooper. I helped put on an event in Portland this year and spent some time with Tinker. I had these on hand and he was nice enough to sign them. But again, the material and build quality of this retro, I've worn this pair probably 10 or 15 times. And again, the material at the back is a lot softer than what you're getting right here. It's like rock hard material. And then the patent leather cut on this one as well. You have those raw edges, and it is a bit thicker right here. The 2016 Space Jams or Black Concords had even thicker patent leather than all of these, but these two right here are quite nice as far as the patent leather material goes. Obviously having this pair signed by Tinker is pretty cool, but sound off in the comments what your favorite colorway is from the OG lineup. Is it the Playoff Black and Red, the Concords, or the Columbia 11s? Now really quickly, last year I did a full performance review on the Gratitude 11s. I've done the Cool Grays, and I was thinking about doing that again this year with the Legend Blue or Columbia 11s. And honestly, for the price point of nearly $300 Canadian and just the really cheap materials, I'm kind of leaning against it. I do have another pair coming in the mail, but sound off in the comments what you guys think. Do you want to see another performance review with this year's Air Jordan holiday release? If there's a ton of interest, I probably will do it. But for me, the overall performance features within this basketball shoe with the herringbone traction pods, they perform amazing. That carbon fiber midfoot spring plate is great for torsional rigidity and just overall springboard-like effect while you're playing in the shoe. The Phylon midsole is great. The air sole unit from heel to toe is superb as far as underfoot comfort. The speed lacing system in this, and then just the way it locks your foot down in this model right here is superb. And not to mention the on-court appeal with this retro just looks amazing on foot. So sound off in the comments what you guys think. Do you want to see another performance review of the Air Jordan 11 in the Legend Blue colorway? I also have some Tinker Hatfield footage of him talking about the Air Jordan 11. I will throw that on screen right now, so let me know what you think about this footage, about him talking about kind of the inception of the Air Jordan 11s and just kind of this cool story about Michael Jordan when Boyz II Men did wear them at the Grammys many years ago.
Just screaming and yelling and just you know, the kind of raucous, positive sort of locker room scene that maybe you've been a part of before. So that was the environment that I was trying to show Michael Jordan a highly secret new shoe. Nike wasn't even sure they were going to do because Michael was playing baseball. And he took one look at those shoes, and I had a towel over both of us. And there are guys trying to look under the towel, and Michael's like, "Get the fuck out of here," you know. And it was kind of a crazy environment, but I really needed to get his authorization to sort of continue on with this project because Nike didn't want to do it because he was playing baseball, and so I was kind of flying without a net. One of the things though that I remember he said that kind of goes to the question about something that maybe happened that you didn't expect to happen is the fact that the first thing out of his mouth was, "People be getting married in these things." I'm like, what? I'm the one who designed the shoe, but weddings were not a part of this storyline. I said, practice in them, don't wear them any, you know, he was unretiring and he had part of a season to play and then his teams got into the playoffs. I said, do not wear these in a game on TV because Nike's not even making this shoe. We're not sure. Nobody knows about whether or not your line is going to continue. And he's like, what? And I'm like, yeah, this is true. So the next 3 days later, he's on TV wearing those shoes. And there's a Magrashad standing courtside with a shoe with a half pair. And he wasn't talking about the game. It was a playoff game. He was talking about the shoe. And he just said, this new shoe Michael Jordan's wearing is, you know, and he started to talk a little bit about the patent leather, and he said it's crazy. I know it's crazy, but it's kind of you know, he kind of went through this whole thing where he tried to talk about how crazy and wacky it was, but then he ended up saying that it was really growing on me though. So and you could see Michael Jordan warming up in the background in those shoes. So 2 months or less, maybe it was about 2 months, somebody had gotten some pairs of shoes to Boyz II Men and they wore them on the Grammys. And I've told this story before, and it just sort of embodies what I think the spirit of Nike is. And I heard the phone, so I was watching the Grammys 2 hours later than Michael, because Michael's in Chicago, so I'm watching it 2 hours later. It's on tape delay or something, but anyway, so the phone rings after the show was over, after the Grammys were over, and the phone, she goes, Hatfields, and I could hear her, I was in a different room, but I could still hear her clearly. She goes, Hatfields, Michael? Michael who? Oh, that Michael. Well, and then she got all tongue-tied and she's like, it's Michael Jordan. I'm like, yeah, give me the phone. Anyway, so, and all he said was, he just on the heels of watching the Grammys, the Boyz II Men wearing those shoes with their tuxedos, he goes, I told you so, mofo.
All right, I hope you liked that footage of Tinker from last summer. I believe that was in 2023 that we did spend some time with him. All right, so that's going to do it for today's video. As always, if you guys could like, comment, and subscribe, that would definitely help the channel a ton. And check out my Instagram over at Sneaker Tech Talk, as it is an extension of my YouTube channel with all my pickups, basketball footage, and nostalgia as a whole. As always, thanks for watching today's video, and until next time, peace.